Most men waste power trying to justify their decisions. Have you already made that mistake, handing over authority by explaining what never needed to be explained? The error of men who give away power by explaining too much. There comes a moment when speaking becomes weakness. When you explain too much, you surrender control. Weak men justify. Rare men simply walk away. They understand that silence is not absence, it is strategic presence. Silent power applied with discipline. True loyalty does not demand explanations. Betrayal never accepts them. So why are you still negotiating your exit, your honor, and your consequence? Silence as the first form of authority. Silent power is not learned from books. It is forged in the moment you recognize that no word will change what has already been decided in the shadow. Masculine discipline begins when you cut the need for approval. You owe no explanations to those who have already broken respect, honor, and the implicit duty of loyalty. Loyalty is an invisible contract, and when it is broken, there is no court, no jury. Only consequence, only the silent sentence of a man who guards his own worth. Most men try to resurrect what has already been reduced to ash. They argue, they justify, they beg for understanding as if words could restore trust destroyed by betrayal. But trust is not rebuilt with explanations. Trust only returns when there is absence, cost, and real consequence. You withdraw, you step away. And in that strategic withdrawal, you recover what was diluted: emotional control, posture, command over your own boundary. Strategic thinking is not about winning arguments. It is about recognizing when the battle no longer produces honor, only erosion. Men with a masculine mindset understand this instinctively. They read signals. They sense fractures in respect. They feel when loyalty turns into risk, and when the air changes, they do not ask for clarification, they act. Silence becomes the invisible blade because it disarms expectation. The other side expects drama, expects confrontation, expects you to lower yourself to the same level. You do not lower yourself, you withdraw. Have you noticed how those who betray always demand your reasons? As if you owed clarity to those who delivered confusion, shadow, and broken commitment? This is the test. Weak men yield, rare men walk. The difference is in the spine, and spine is not negotiable. Spine sustains honor when pressure tries to bend character. Silence reveals who holds real power. When you leave without explaining, you force the other to face the void they themselves created. How many men around you are still explaining dignity to those who already despised it? Withdrawal as the preservation of honor. The cold truth is this: tested loyalty needs no speeches. It is proven through repeated actions, over time, under pressure, and real cost. When someone breaks that invisible pact, no conversation restores the damage. You can speak for hours. You can organize perfect arguments. You can even convince the intellect. But betrayal is not born in the intellect, it moves in the shadow. And the shadow does not respond to logic. It responds only to consequence. Men with masculine wisdom learn early. Withdrawal is not weakness. Withdrawal is preservation. You preserve energy. You preserve honor. You preserve the legacy of a man who does not beg for respect that should be given without demand. Forced respect is not respect, it is performance. It is a facade, and facades always collapse when pressed by silence. Have you noticed how toxic profiles always reach for the language of communication? They say you should explain. That walking away is immaturity. that bonds require endless dialogue. But they confuse dialogue with control. What they want is not understanding, it is continuous access to your time, your attention, your inner power. They want to keep you trapped in a cycle of justification, where you bleed energy while they retain psychological leverage. The masculine mindset recognizes this as manipulation. It is not about resolving anything. It is about keeping you available, about ensuring you never truly withdraw. Because leaving, truly leaving, without return, without explanation, without negotiation, is the one move that cannot be controlled. And that exposes the fragility of those who depend on your involvement to sustain themselves. True discipline is cutting with precision. Without ceremony, without a final speech, you simply stop investing, stop responding, stop sustaining what has already proven disloyal. And in the empty space you create, the truth emerges. They never deserved your reasons, never deserved your time, never deserved access to your core. Weak men reveal their weakness under pressure. They cannot bear the weight of your silence. Have you seen this happen? The one who demands explanations is always the one who deserves them least. The exact moment to cut without negotiation. There is an exact moment to cut someone from your life. It is not at the first isolated error, it is when you recognize the pattern that repeats. Silent power is identifying repetition before it becomes habit against you. Ruthless clarity is seeing the person as they are, not as you wish them to be. Hope without proof is a trap. Most men fail here. They grant too many chances. They believe in change because they want to believe. But real change is rare, and you do not build loyalty on desire. Loyalty is built on continuous proof, consistent behavior, alignment between word and action. When that alignment breaks, you do not debate, you decide. Decision is power. Argument is delay. Strategic thinking operates where common men do not reach. While some try to fix what has already broken at the level of honor, you have already mapped the outcome. You understand that certain breaks are final, that some people lack the internal structure to sustain loyalty, discipline, and respect. And you do not waste time trying to forge character in those who never chose to carry that weight. Emotional control is not the absence of inner reaction. It is command. You feel the tension, you feel the disappointment. You feel the impulse to confront, to explain, to make the other acknowledge the damage caused. And then you choose silence, because silence is sentence, and sentences are not negotiated. They are carried out. Rare men understand that some doors must remain closed, no matter how many times they are knocked on, no matter the intensity of the request to return. Some betrayals create permanent distance, and maintaining that distance is not cruelty, it is strategic wisdom. It is recognizing that closeness to the wrong person corrodes more than any disciplined solitude ever could. The exact moment to leave is when you realize you are explaining the obvious to someone who chooses not to see. Think about the last 5 men you trusted. How many remain at your side without demanding that you justify yourself? Absence as sentence. The difference between respect and fear is clear. Respect is born from consistent value. Fear is born from control and threat. When you leave without explanations, you are not creating fear, you are restoring delayed respect. You are stating, without words, dignity is not negotiated, honor is not begged for, consequence is not debated. Many mistake this for arrogance, but arrogance needs an audience. It needs external validation. It needs to prove superiority. You need to prove nothing. You act according to your internal code, and that code dictates that men with a spine do not lower themselves begging for respect that was deliberately denied. There is a wisdom carried in silence across generations. Silent withdrawal is the severest punishment one can apply. Not shouting, not threats, not exposure, only absence. Absence corrodes more than any confrontation, because it leaves the other alone with their choices, without the noise of your drama to use as excuse. True loyalty does not ask for explanations because it understands. Betrayal always asks because it never will. This is the dividing line. And when you recognize which side someone stands on, you need no more proof. The answer is already clear, and the answer is your absence. Consequence is not what you say, it is what you remove. You remove access, you remove closeness, you remove the illusion of easy return, and in that removal, you restore order. Order is not maintained by soft words and endless concessions. Order is maintained by firm limits applied without hesitation. The strategic mindset understands that some battles are won by not fighting, by not reacting, by not giving the other the satisfaction of seeing you disturbed. You become inaccessible. And inaccessibility, when applied with precision, communicates more than any speech ever could. Weak men speak too much because they fear silence. Rare men command silence because they know its weight. That is the difference. Do you recognize it? The price of waiting for permission to walk away. Look at yourself now. How many times have you lowered yourself by explaining the obvious? How many times have you wasted words on those who did not deserve your presence, much less your reasons? How many times have you negotiated dignity with those who never offered respect? Are you still trapped in the habit of justifying decisions to people who never accepted your limits? The non-negotiable truth is simple. Every minute spent explaining is a minute stolen from your own masculine evolution. It is energy that should be forging discipline, strengthening posture, building legacy wasted trying to convince those who already chose not to honor you. And you know this. You have always known it. The question is not whether you should leave. The question is why you are still waiting for permission to protect your own honor. Ruthless discipline begins when you stop waiting for external understanding. When you recognize that men of integrity do not apologize for protecting their own internal order. When you understand that honored loyalty does not require a farewell spectacle, you withdraw, and in that silent act, you reclaim the only power that matters: rule over yourself. Silence carries more laws than it seems. There are truths that only reveal themselves when words cease. Remain attentive. There are principles that only show themselves in the dark, and they answer only to men who know when to be silent and when to cut. Withdrawal is not the end. It is the sentence.